Hello and welcome to our June 26th Freshet Friday podcast. This week we'll talk about how local elections are heating up alongside the temperature outside, why New Westminster is taking a second look at how its flagship aquatic and community centre might need to change, and lots of other news from this week. This week also features a seasonal segment celebrating Canada Day with advice on how to be a tourist in your own hometown from three very special guests. I'm your host, Jeff Wheelwright, and with me on the podcast this week are the veteran journalists and founders of Freshet News, Janice Clue, Teresa McManus, and Mario Bartel, with their take on all of these happenings in Burnaby, New Westminster, and the Tri-Cities. Welcome back, team.
Hi, Jeff.
Yeah.
Hi, Jeff.
So I want to start today with news of local elections and how they're heating up. And Janice, do you want to kick us off?
Sure, they're definitely heating up. More people are announcing that they're running for council or school district positions. In the Tri Cities, I can speak to four candidates. One is Tally Campbell. He's the GM for the Coquitlam Express hockey team. We also have Carolyn Thompson, who's going to be running as a Port Moody candidate for School District 43. And some people may know her as the daughter of Zoe Royer. She's the MP of Port Moody Coquitlam. We also have Trustee Rosie Manhas has announced that she's going to be running for re-election. And she was elected during a by-election last year to replace Jennifer Blatherwick, who was elected as MLA. And one came in on Wednesday, and this woman's name is Madhavi Inamdar, and she is very well known as a co-founder of a AI foundation. In Coquitlam, we have three vacancies on City Council. One is Craig Hodge, because he's running for mayor to replace Richard Stewart. We also have long-term councillor Brent Asmundson, and Dennis Marsden just announced that he will not be running for re-election. So in Coquitlam, it's like a little bit spicy coming up in October, similar to Burnaby.
Wow, that's quite a rundown. So, Teresa or Mario, do you have any election news you want to add?
Just is a little bit different than some of the communities is in that we have slates here. So New West, for some time, we've pretty much known who's going to be running for both of the main groups here. We've got the New Westminster Progressives and we've got Community First New West. So those slates have been formalized for a bit now. And then, in fact, the New West Progressives did recently just send out and confirmed who their candidates are going to be. In terms of the campaign itself, everybody's out and about, everybody's in town. And if you've been to a city council meeting, you definitely know that there's an election coming up because there's a lot of campaigning happening within council chambers, even if it's not official. The New West Progressives have been sending out some of their platforms. This past week, they had issued something about a plan for a safer, cleaner, and more welcoming neighborhoods. And so they're planning on rolling out some platforms in the coming weeks as the campaign really kicks up into high gear here in New West.
It's an interesting comment about the tone and tenor of council meetings changing. So it sounds like things are getting a bit chippier.
Yeah, New West for the last few years, New West meetings have been, pretty chippy. That's a good way to describe it. But definitely, folks are maximizing the last moments because I don't know how it works in all of the other cities, but in New West, they'll have a couple more meetings and then they'll really kind of slow it down for summer. I know the meetings have been jam-packed with reports and things that they have to act on. And I think staff are probably trying to get as much through the process as they can before summer break and before the election. Come September, there won't be a whole lot of business that's getting done at City Hall
Right.
by the politicians. Staff will be, busy in the background, of course.
Fascinating. And Mario, any evidence of electioneering at council meetings you're seeing?
Well, the councillors are all being very forthcoming and trying to get us to do stories on things that they're pushing at council. The most recent candidate announcement was Paul Lambert. Some voters may be familiar with him. He ran in the last federal election and finished second to Zoe Royer. He ran for the Conservative Party, the Federal Conservative Party. He's stepped forward to run as a candidate for mayor in Port Moody. He's an independent. He's previously run for council in Coquitlam as well. But we've yet to hear real official announcements from any of the current council members and even the mayor. There's things out there floating around, but they have yet to send out a press release or launch official election websites. There's still business to be attended to at council.
Right, right. Well, thank you for that. And now I want to turn back to you, Teresa, for a minute. You got a story about the city of New Westminster taking the rare action of ordering the demolition of a building in downtown. What's that about?
Yeah, this one came up at council on Monday night, and essentially there's a property that many folks in town will be familiar with. It's at the corner of Columbia Street and 4th. So just as folks are going on to the Front Street Parkade, or if they're heading over to take the elevator into Pier Park. And then also down below, there is a staircase that's been recently built by the city and sort of a cement structure down there. Anyway, at the top of that is a building that has definitely seen better days. At the council meeting, they voted unanimously to impose a remedial action requiring the owner to basically demolish that. This has been going on for years and years. The city had a report that detailed that things had been going back since 2007 when they had tried to get the property owner to remediate the property. And then the report itself said that the Fire and Rescue Services had issued 10 notices of violation regarding that property between 2017 and 2024. So this is a long-standing issue. And now they've put up a basically do not occupy sign on the building, and they are going to go to the property owner and ask them that they demolish it, and in accordance with different government legislation that they're able to do that, the community charter and whatnot. And so the staff that reported to council about this said that, it may take some time. It's not like folks are going to walk by there next week and it's going to be down, but they're really quite adamant that something gets done with this. And council members did note that this is a very, very rare action. Um, Daniel Fontaine, one of the city councilors, he expressed concern that, as much as he supported it, he's concerned that if it does come down, that the street will have yet another building site that is empty. There's a couple of prominent sites on the downtown strip that were subjected to fire and have been empty lots for years now. So he's worried that that'll be another one like that. Mayor Patrick Johnstone, he said that, the council has been advocating to the province to get some tools that would allow them to sort of put a little bit of pressure on property owners so that they don't just let those lots just sit there and be empty for years and years. So we'll be keeping an eye on this one because the city doesn't go into this sort of action lightly. There's a lot of legalities and legislative things that they have to go through to get there. In fact, I think the report outlined some of the costs that they had already incurred to date, and it was fairly significant. And then, in terms of the demolition costs, and these were all very, very preliminary numbers, staff said that could range between $200,000 and $365,000. But on the flip side of that, a renovation could probably, and they don't even know that a renovation could actually be done because the building's in such bad condition, but that could range from 2.7 to 4.5 million. So we'll be following this one for sure.
Fantastic. Now I'm going to stick with New West for just a minute because you have one other story about a controversy at the Aquatic and Community Center around changing rooms.
Yeah, in recent weeks, we've had several delegations who have come forward to city council meetings, and they've been expressing concerns about some issues about the family friendliness, as they refer to it, of the facility at Thomas Out. And there's some sightline issues there, and some of the washrooms aren't meeting the needs of families. And so Councillor Daniel Fontaine had brought forward a motion for council's consideration to have staff really look at opportunities for making the facility more family-friendly and welcoming, and to address some of the concerns about privacy and visibility and functionality within the universal changing room area. And so council unanimously approved that. They're going to move forward and have staff look into what can be done. Dean Gibson, the city's director of Parks and Recreation, did note that staff have been responding to various issues and concerns that people have, like even from the smallest of suggestions since TAC opened a couple of years ago. And he says a lot of that's been made and a lot of it's done quietly. It's just, they'll purchase a new toy for the pool that, that folks are requesting, that sort of thing. But this might be a little more of a process than just because they may have to reconfigure a few things within that facility. So.
Right. And it's what, like just 2 years old?
Growing pains, yeah. And to be honest, I haven't seen it myself, but council members do seem very aware and very desiring of making these changes. I know Councillor Tasha Henderson, she is a mom of young children, and she uses that facility. And she says, she can speak from lived experiences that, yeah, I'm on board with this. We have to look at making some changes here.
Right. Thank you for that. Okay, and now my interview with Heidi Hughes, the manager of tourism and visitor economy and community services for the city of Coquitlam, Chris Peters, the CEO of Explore Burnaby, and Gerarda Coro, the executive director of Tourism New Westminster, to share their insights on how to be a tourist in our own communities. Well, we have a real treat for you today on the Freshet Friday podcast. We're calling this segment our Freshet Friday Fresh Look. And today we're taking a look at what it means to be a tourist in your own hometown. Helping me to take this enjoyable journey are three of the best possible guides you could have on this subject. Gerardo Coro, Executive Director of Tourism New Westminster, Chris Peters from Tourism Burnaby, and Heidi Hughes, the Manager of Tourism and the Visitor Economy for the City of Coquitlam. Welcome to Freshet Friday. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Good to see everyone.
Thank you so much for having us. It's great to see everybody.
Yeah, well, do you want to start by just all introducing yourselves a little bit and talk briefly about what you do and what drew you to working in tourism? Heidi, do you want to start?
I'm happy to start. I mean, my story goes back probably to when I was a young child. Tourism hospitality was always on my horizon, and I think it came from actually watching far too many episodes of the show Hotel with Connie Selica. I think that was the career that I wanted to have, but it wasn't even just so much, her. It was the hotel environment and just watching what was going on behind the scenes during some of the episodes, and not so much the drama that she was dealing with. But yeah, I've been in tourism hospitality since the late 80s, early 90s, and I started in hotels and moved on to meetings and conventions, and eventually doing work in municipalities. And that's where my heart is now, is just really doing what I can for my own community to make it a vibrant place where people want to live, work, and play.
Fantastic. How about you, Chris?
Okay. So I'm CEO here at Tourism Burnaby. And the reason I'm in tourism is because of my high school music teacher, of all things. So really great, gregarious guy. He was sort of a big brother to a lot of us as we're going through. And he traveled extensively through Europe and was an incredible storyteller and very influential on my friends and I, many of whom went on to become jazz musicians. Outside of the odd karaoke jam, I'm not as skilled at music, but I really loved the storytelling. And so that's what drew me to tourism, is that ability to, travel globally, meet people from all over the world. And a place like Burnaby, the world kind of comes to you. So you get to meet those people and help tell their stories. So I came at this kind of through the side door. So similar to Heidi, I worked in a lot of hotels. So for Fairmont and Pan Pacific and Marriott over the years, and then joined up here at Tourism Burnaby about 7 or 8 years ago. So it's been a great ride.
Well, it's great to have you here, Chris. And how about you, Gerardo?
Yeah, well, so my first contact with the hospitality industry was when I was 7 years old, working at my aunt's restaurant. Not child exploitation. I was doing it on my. I decided to do it. They actually allowed me to do it. So I was waiting tables, and I realized that serving other people was awesome. And the reward by making others happy was always there. I didn't. Of course, I wasn't looking at that when I was 7 years old, but it was already getting to me. I decided to go for my bachelor's degree in hospitality and tourism management. And ever since then, I've been in many opportunities working for tourism at different capacities. At some point, I founded a consultancy firm to work with destinations. That was back in Mexico many years ago. And I've been the director for a few destinations in Mexico. We've worked with important strategic plans and marketing plans for destinations. And it's just what I love. And that took me, well, it all started from my parents, because they always took me traveling, regardless of what the economic situation was at the moment. Travel was always a priority for our family. So I got to see some of the world, and then I kept doing it on my own. And I developed a passion to look at all those stories from around the world, different peoples, and understanding how we're all connected, they're different, and being able to be part of the story was always interesting. And now being part of the storytellers part, it's also awesome. So we moved to Canada a few years ago, and I fell in love with British Columbia, and I'm just so happy to be able to tell this story from this end.
That's fantastic. Great intro. Thank you so much. So I have a scenario for you. And the scenario is this. You got a group of friends or relatives coming to stay with you, and they've decided to come at a time when you have to work. So you'll see them on the weekend, but during the week, they have to make their own fun. So my first question is, where do you recommend that they go while they're touring around on their own in your community? And secondly, how does that advice change if they have young kids or if they're seniors? So who wants to go first?
I'm happy to start. Yeah, there's so much to do in Coquitlam. I think one of the great pieces, if you have friends or relatives visiting and they may or may not have a rental car, is we do have the SkyTrain that runs actually through all of our communities and connect each other. But it's great that you can get around within Coquitlam on the SkyTrain, so I don't have to worry about that. They can get themselves around. But there's a lot of things to do on foot. There's a lot of things that people can enjoy. Regardless of age, you can enjoy it together. You can take a mural walk through the city center. We have a beautiful public art tour. We have also a more heritage part of our city, which is called Maillardville, where you can also go for a mural walk. There's lots of restaurants, cafes. We have a little Korea part of town where we have a huge amount of Korean restaurants that are very popular right now. You can head out to a festival or event at our premier a festival and event site right here at Lafarge Lake, which is also a very, very walkable part of downtown, city center, as we like to call it, right here in Coquitlam. So there's lots of retail, just so many things to do that you can cover off a whole day, probably 3 days of just walking about in the city. If you're more athletic, you can head over to the Coquitlam Crunch, which is sort of Coquitlam's version of a natural staircase that goes up Heritage Mountain. So you can challenge yourself to that. Kids also really enjoy doing the stairs. They enjoy counting the stairs and looking at all the beautiful flora and fauna that our parks team has so lovingly recently planted along those stairs. Lots of parks. You can go fishing at Como Lake. Our two lakes, which is Lafarge Lake and Como Lake, are both stocked. So you can actually go fishing there if you would like to go fishing and if that's something you enjoy as a family. So lots to do on a day in Coquitlam, whether it's raining, as we call it, liquid sunshine, or a beautiful day like the one showing in the background here. There's lots to do, arts and culture, theater, lots of performances happening at Evergreen Cultural Center. So a lot to keep yourself busy in Coquitlam at any time of the year.
So how about you, Chris?
Heidi's kind of alluded to this already, is our connectivity on transit. So I think one of the first things I do is get folks set up with a compass card, and they're able to visit most of Burnaby along the 11 different SkyTrain stops along the way. One of the things I'd probably recommend them to do, though, is just to get outside. So we're thinking of hosting somebody at my house, where I live towards the sort of the southwest side of the city. So a favorite route of mine is to start in Central Park amongst the old growth cedars and Douglas firs. And so it's a beautiful walking track. And then you're out underneath the BC Parkway beneath the SkyTrain line, which takes you to BC's largest shopping center, Metrotown. So do you get that whole urban and nature experience all at once and get some exercise along the way. If I've got somebody that's coming with kids, the first place I'm going to send them is the Burnaby Village Museum, which is a great 1920s village that's set right in the heart of Burnaby. And it has what I have to think is probably the world's fastest carousel. There's an antique carousel in there, and I don't think I can ride it anymore. I don't know if it's an inner ear thing or whatever, but it's seriously fast. Like, it's eye watering. So the kids love it. They're holding on for dear life, but it's spectacular. And then And then for the seniors, I would send them to Deer Lake, because you've got the Burnaby Art Gallery, which is right there, and overlooking Deer Lake itself. There's a beautiful walk you can do across, and then to have lunch or dinner at Hart House Restaurant, which this time of year has the patio open and is just a really kind of great upscale heritage place to enjoy a meal, and then maybe take in a concert or a play at the Shadbolt Center, which is just right there as well.
Well, that's a pretty good list. You're up next, Gerardo. What do you got?
Absolutely. So the challenge is what not to include, right? In all three cases. So I think again, same. We're all very accessible. 5 SkyTrain stations to this small town. Very easy to get here from Burnaby, from Coquitlam, from downtown Vancouver, 25 minutes away, as you all know. So we are very connected, and one of the things that I would like to say is that we do encourage both our friends coming here, family coming here, but also the visitors coming to Tourism New West to do more than just New West, because we are in the heart of Metro Vancouver. So we encourage them to actually go to Burnaby, go to Coquitlam, go to Vancouver, go to Surrey. And even though the most interesting is here in New West, but they if they're coming here for enough time, they get to do more stuff. Now, but jokes aside, I would recommend them to start at the new Westminster SkyTrain station, go across to the quay, to the riverfront, where we have 2 kilometers where they can bike, they can walk, they can take amazing photos, the best photo opportunities for a sunrise and a sunset. And right there, they have the river market where they can have the most amazing brunch or breakfast at Angelina's Dutch Corner. So it's one of my favorites, and I always take friends there. Once they are out there, they can just do that nice walk. If they're coming with children, there's the largest tin soldier in the world, 10 meters tall, also called Teeny. So they can take a very nice picture there and go to the Fraser River Discovery Center just in front of it. If you're not coming with children, you can also enjoy it, but maybe there are other activities that you would rather go and do. So there are some murals in downtown, some public art. You could go on a walk from the Amwell Center, which is on 8th Street, also next to SkyTrain Station, and go to maybe 6th or 4th Street. And there's so much things just in that portion of Columbia Street, full of history and heritage and amazing historical buildings that you can take a look of. And also there's some murals and some mosaics on the street that they can take you to learn more about the city. And if you're in that area, you would definitely have to go to the Amwell Center, which is a very nice building. Heidi is very familiar with it because she used to work in there. So the Amwell Center, the Amwell Theater, and many other nice conference spaces and Tourism in the West. We also have not only the visitor center here, but an amazing museum that is open to the public free of cost, the new Westminster Museum and Archives, next to La Crosse Hall of Fame, and the beautiful new media gallery that has ongoing exhibitions from international artists and very nice contemporary art. But at the New Westminster Museum and Archives, you can learn so much about the history of the modern British Columbia after the colonial settlements, and also a lot of the history from before that time, and the original caretakers of this land, mostly the Halkomelem-speaking peoples. So it's a very good way to start connecting. If you're not from BC, if you're not from Canada, to know what has happened here and what's going on up to these days. Then I would definitely take them on a tour around the Queen's Park area heritage homes. It's all walking distance, so they don't need a car. They don't need to. They could take transit because we're connected, but they don't need it. Or there's also the opportunity to rent the line bikes. So you can take e-bikes around the city, and that's very, very easy, especially if you want to go from downtown to uptown. It's a bit steep, so it would be recommended to do it. That area is very nice. They can go to the uptown area on 6th and 6th, or to the West End for lunch or for dinner. We have so many amazing restaurants on that area, and they could find food from around the world. I have been to more than 100 places, different places, in just downtown, uptown, Sappertown, Queensboro, and the West End in the last 3 years. And I have found so many gems from around the world. So international food, definitely. Authentic cuisine made by people from those countries. Or even if you want something very Canadian, there's Annie's on Uptown where you can have maple syrup ice cream, or you can have the authentic poutine or other options. So anywhere you go in the West, you're going to find amazing food. And of course, for the evening, there could be many amazing options for shows and entertainment that could go from any of the theaters, Massive Theater, Amwell Theater, or the smaller ones. Or we have the Hidden Wonders Speakeasy Magic Experience, which is a 5-star rated experience in all Metro Vancouver. And the only thing is it's always sold out. So I would recommend that they book it in advance. But there are also some art studios where they can go and do their own mosaic, Turkish lamp, or do their own pottery. So many options to choose from.
Wow. That's a lot. So I got a second question for you. It's the same scenario, but now it's the weekend and you're going to be going with your friends or relatives. So what do you want to see them experiencing for the first time? This is a kind of a classic be a tourist in your own hometown question, but it's got a slight twist. It's really all about what you want to either see for the first time because you've been meaning to get to it and never got around to it, or you want to see it again and experience the joy and the wonder of it through the eyes of people in your family or friend group. From my own experience, I used to live in the UK, and specifically London. And whenever friends or relatives would come to stay with us, I'd like to take them to St. James's Park, which is a big park that stretches out in front of Buckingham Palace, or I take them to the Burlington Arcade, which is this wonderful kind of 19th century classic arcade in Mayfair. And then when I was in Seattle, I'd take them to places like Pike Place Market, or I'd just go on the monorail, just because I liked going there. But when you live there, you don't necessarily go to all of these things. And both of those are like classic tourist sites, but I love visiting them. So what would be your examples? What do you like to do when friends and relatives come to town and you want to go with them to one of those things? So what are your tops? So I'd start with you, Heidi.
That's a really great question. And I do have two answers, but I'm going to start with the one that I prefer. I'm going to assume it's my family coming from Ontario that are really excited to be here in the rainforest where there's mountains and ocean. And I would really want to show them how, even though I live in the suburbs, I also live in the rainforest where there's mountains and lakes and amazing natural beauty all around where I live, and I'm fortunate enough to live in. So I would probably take them, depending on their athleticism, to one of my favorite hikes that I feel blessed all the time on the weekend that's in my backyard, and that's somewhere that I can just throw on the right gear for the day, whether it's hot, raining, cold, and I would take them either to Minnetonka Regional Park, which is somewhere where you could take someone that's maybe not quite as athletic and maybe just wants to do a shorter hike. You still get some amazing elevation, but just getting out there in Minnetonka Park, you're more than likely in the springtime and summer to see bears. There's just so much natural beauty and wilderness, just right on Coquitlam's doorstep. If they're a little bit more athletic, I would take them to Pinecone Burke Provincial Park. I just couldn't believe it the first time I hiked on the Woodland Walk Trail and went up to Sawblade Falls. If you get there in the spring when the snow is melting, it can be quite the stunning waterfall to experience. And then, of course, if you're wanting to more go for a bike ride or something flatter, if you're not into mountain biking or hiking, we also have Colony Farm Regional Park, which is just, if you like birds, if you like, vistas and wetlands, and it's just a completely different experience. So I feel very fortunate that hopefully my family coming to visit would want to do one of those things. So that would be my suggestion for a nice day with family. Pack a
Well,
picnic.
sounds like they'd be lucky to have that. That sounds great.
Yes.
How about you, Chris?
What I like to do if I've got guests in town is that we do one day of lots and lots of outdoor activities and then one day of treat yourself. So I'll kind of give you the rundown. Burnaby actually has 4 different golf courses, 2 full size and 2 pitch and putts. If I'm honest, I don't like golf very much, but I'm trying really hard to learn. So they are spectacular courses, and for municipal courses especially, they are really they're jaw-dropping for folks that are from outside the region. If it's raining, we've actually got a new spot that's opened up here called the Happy Gilmore Golf Lounge. So you can, and it's right near the Gilmore SkyTrain station as well. So it's a double meaning on that one. But it's great because you can actually get golf lessons inside in these virtual ranges. Plus, and just as importantly, there's a full service bar and restaurant inside. So that was a lot of fun. Then what I like to do is to take people up to the top of Burnaby Mountain so we can check out the people's gathering place and learn about some of the Indigenous First Nations that we share here. So that would be Coquitlam, Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh for Burnaby. And then going a little walk and hike up to Kamui Mintara, which is just on the west side of the mountain and overlooks the Vancouver city skyline, and take in the incredible sunset there and look at the totem poles, which were donated to us from our sister city in Kushiro, Japan, and are actually made by the indigenous folks of Hokkaido, the Ainu. So that's a really kind of great outdoor day. And then once you've done that, you probably need to relax the next day. So I would start out at the Art of Sauna, which is on Kingsway in the Edmonds neighborhood. And it's a really, really cool spot. It has 8 different types of saunas. So there's dry saunas, steam saunas, eucalyptus saunas. And then you can also get massage and what there as well. And then once you've got all those toxins out of your body, you probably need to have some calories. So you're going to head to Crystal Mall on SkyTrain, because I will admit the parking lot at Crystal Mall is awful. So do take SkyTrain there. But it has some of the most authentic, tremendous global Asian cuisine that I think you can get anywhere in the region. So whether you're looking for bao, or whether you're looking for pho, or different types of Hong Kong barbecue or something like that, that is the place to go. And it's such a unique cultural activity that people they have no idea, have I put you down in the heart of Singapore, or where are you in this particular place? So I think that's the full range of things that I would take folks to if I were hosting them for the weekend.
I can even get a cheap haircut in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, after all that talk of the spa, you got me feeling very relaxed here, Chris. So how about you, Gerardo?
Yeah, so if I'm coming with them and we're going to maybe different places, or places that I would like to be a guide that can take them to those could be hidden gems or not so usual spots, I think I would start with a place that is not very touristic, but I love, which is the Centennial Totem Pole on Queen's Park. So an indigenous pole that it was recently restored, and it's amazing. It's next to the gallery at Queen's Park. And then I would love to take them to a Salmon Bellies lacrosse game. That'd be beautiful. They could get to experience the local community, and one of the important games for Canada, for BC, for New West. We have a very good team, and we have a very excited community to cheer for them. I'm one of those. So I would take them there. Also, right there next to the Centennial Totem Pole, because the arena is right there at Queen's Park. And I think I would also take them on a film tourism tour. So in many places in town, and same goes for our neighbors right here. So many films and shows have been shot, but a lot of times people don't know where something was shot. So I would take them on a special tour about that. We're actually working on making it more available for the public. Chris is actually spearheading that effort in many of the cities around Metro Vancouver. But we don't have that yet. We don't have that infrastructure or that information that available. But I would like to take them there. Around downtown, there are so many places, so many films that have been shot here, including some of the most famous ones recently, like The Last of Us, or our cult movie, which is a It miniseries from Stephen King from the 90s. So we actually have the newest monster clown. So I would probably take them with the newest monster on a special tour, and we would go somewhere around the Queen's Park Heritage Homes area to the sewage where the clown was hiding under the curve. So that's on Liverpool and 4th. So we would go there probably, and I personally would love to take them to one of the Hidden Wonders Speakeasy Magic Experience shows. Every time I go there, I'm mind blown. So I'm a very rational person. Every time I see a magician, I'm trying to understand, and I have an explanation for all the magic tricks. With this place and this magician, I've come to believe that maybe there's sexual magic. So
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had been to that show, and it is wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Speaking of games, and you were talking, Gerardo, about Salmon Bellies, I now want to play a little game with the three of you. I want to play what I'm calling Freshet Travel Trivia, where you each get to ask your neighboring colleagues 3 trivia questions about your community. And the one who gets the most right answers wins a Freshet News t-shirt. So who wants to go first? And
I just want to say
yes,
that this is a bit biased, because Heidi right here, she's ahead in the race. Because you live in Burnaby, right?
I lived in Burnaby for
You
many,
lived in
many years
Burnaby.
now.
You working for Coquitlam, and you've been working for the Amble Center on downtown New West for so many years. So, but challenge accepted. Doesn't matter.
Well, that's going to be up to you to get questions you think are going to be particularly challenging. So, who wants to start?
Well, my first question is, can you name one of our summer community-led festivals, so one of Coquitlam's signature
Dumpling
events that
Fest.
happen? I didn't get to finish the question,
Oh, sorry.
though.
We feel we're competitive. So
I was going to
There's
say
no buzzer. There's no buzzer.
that celebrates food and rich heritage and culture. Gerardo.
Dumpling Fest.
The BC Dumpling Festival, yes. It happens every year in August, the second Saturday in August at Town Center Park. Features dumplings from around the world and celebrates rich, vibrant culture from all the different countries that participate in the festival. So, yes, that was correct.
Great.
Okay. What's your second question, Heidi?
My second question was, well, I already kind of said it, but which mountain is home to a golf course in Coquitlam?
Can I go? Can I try?
Sure.
Is it
Yeah.
Pinecone Burke?
No.
No. Is it? It's golf. It's my Achilles heel. I
Don't
told you.
Don't you know the name of our golf course out
Is
here?
it
It's
Westwood Plateau?
Plateau.
Okay.
Yeah, which is now under new ownership, and they're called Green Tea Golf and Country Club at Westwood Plateau. So, since you're learning how to golf, Chris, I'll have to have you out to do some golfing in Coquitlam. What is the name of Coquitlam's largest urban park? That's second largest in the region.
Is it Monday Park?
Yes, it's Mundy
Yeah.
Park. Yes, it's Mundy Park.
Okay,
Mexican.
so
right,
Here's a
yeah.
Mexican.
Yeah.
okay, so Gerardo, so you're ahead with 2 points. Chris, I'm going to give you a point for yours. Okay, so Chris, you get to ask the questions now.
Okay. I will say that I gave you 2 of the 3 answers in my answers from before the podcast. So
I
First-
don't have an advantage, Gerardo. So if you lose,
Theoretically,
it's just because I'm
how-
faster.
how many SkyTrain stations does Burnaby have?
11.
As I mentioned before, Burnaby sits on the shared territory of 4 different First Nations. Name at least 3.
Squamish.
Okay.
Squamish.
Musqueam.
Good. And the last one would be Coquitlam. So,
Coquitlam.
Yeah.
Oh, you share
Yeah.
with us. 'Cause
yeah,
We're Coquitlam.
yeah,
Coquitlam is Coquitlam.
yeah.
I have to stop
So we
doing
did-
that, but I'm trying to show that it says Tourism Coquitlam right there, but my name's in the way.
Okay. And
Okay,
that's
well,
funny.
I think
Uh,
for that one, there's going to be a half a point each for Gerardo and Heidi.
That's fair.
okay. And
All right,
one
Chris, go ahead.
One last question. We're talking about a little bit about Cineventure and film tourism and entertainment in general. So Burnaby is home where 2 very famous Michaels were born and raised. Name both.
Michael
Two-
Fox and Michael J. Fox and
So Michael Bublé.
Yes.
Michael
Oh,
Bublé.
you got- yeah.
Yes, so we get a
Both-
half
Oh,
a
I
point
can
each
say-
again.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so Michael Bublé still lives here. Michael J. Fox has, of course, the theater named after him here.
Yeah. Oh.
What is the name of the famous sculpture that depicts a historical moment that is placed on Hayek Square across the street from the Amble Center?
Wait for me, Daddy.
Yes. Bim, 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 bim.
Sorry, I was there when they released the toonie for the Wait for Me, Daddy statue. It's actually a beautiful statue.
it is. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. There's one. I want to make it more even for Chris, but
I don't see a T-shirt in my future.
yeah.
But
This is a bit hard. Okay. What is the name of? Wait until I finish the question.
BC Dumpling Festival.
Yeah. So, okay. What is the name of one of the oldest preserved homes in British Columbia that is placed here on Royal Avenue in New Westminster? It's actually the second oldest home in British Columbia that is still preserved as it is, and it is the oldest one in the Lower Mainland. from the 1800s, and you can visit for free. And it's a museum. And now you can answer if you want. I'm gonna keep adding things to it,
Is,
and you
is it
cannot
Robson House?
you cannot look it up, Heidi. You cannot look it up.
Is it Robson House?
No. So it was the home of a famous captain.
I know. I can.
There's a
I can
village on the
visualize
wall
it.
inside because at some point, many decades ago, or more than a century ago, there was a robbery attempt. So this guy came in with a gun and he pointed up the stairs and fired his gun. And there's a bullet there on the walls. And there's
It's the armory or something, isn't it?
no getting there.
Oh my gosh! It's Irving House.
Irving
How did I not
House.
know that? Oh my gosh!
Oh, so close.
Okay, sorry. That's really bad that I didn't know that.
On the tip of your tongue.
Yeah.
Okay, I get one more, right?
You sure do. Yeah, one more.
Okay. So what is the name of the annual series of festivals that happen throughout the summer? They have 6 editions. They happen on Front Street in downtown.
Oh, I know the answer, but I'm trying to give Chris a chance.
Each edition has a different theme. It's very lively. There's live music. There's
Fridays
food.
on Front.
There you go. Fridays on Front. I think we have a winner.
Yeah.
I know, but
Heidi,
I was
congratulations on your T-shirt.
Just let
Does
me
it
know what
come in
size you want,
pink?
Heidi.
Oh, just the ladies large, medium.
Well, there you go. Congratulations to Heidi. That was
Oh,
fantastic.
dear.
Thank you for playing.
Well,
So-
thank you.
I have one final question for all of you. So if you were to name one place in your neighboring community, and, for Chris, it could be either anywhere in the Tri-Cities or in New West, and similarly for Gerardo, it could be anywhere in Burnaby or the Tri-Cities, just not in New West. So if you could name one place that you'd recommend to visitors from your neighboring community, what would it be? And we'll start with Heidi again.
Oh, Chris already mentioned it, but Burnaby Mountain Park is just absolutely the best place to go. You can see everything from up there on a clear day. I mean, Grouse Mountain, yeah, you have a great view, but when you go up to the top of Burnaby Mountain for a sunset in the summer because you're facing west, it's absolutely spectacular. So if you love a good sunset, a good hike, a good picnic, you can toboggan up there in the winter when there's snow. It's just my absolute favorite spot. And you can hike up there as well. It's a great hike to go up to the top of Burnaby Mountain. There's tons of trails up there. It's just by far my favorite place.
That's a great recommendation. Thanks, Heidi. How about you, Chris?
The way the riverfront has been just redeveloped there in New West. You're right in the middle, like in the heart, right, but the key there and all the sort of fun urban activity that's going on. But it's also a really, really active riverfront. So you've got the tugboats going up and down and the log booms going past. And it's just a beautiful place just to kind of hang out and people watch. So I love that. Hop off the SkyTrain, grab a coffee and just curl up on one of those chairs and spend the afternoon in the sun.
Sounds great. And I have done that. It is lovely.
Are
Okay,
you
Gerardo.
coming to Coquitlam, Gerardo?
No, I actually have 2. I don't want to repeat anything of what was said, but I think it's interesting how the 3 destinations complement each other. I think when visitors come here, they are never looking at where they are standing in particular. Oh, I'm visiting New West. That's all I'm doing. Like, no, like that's the beauty of being that close to each other and also having different things to offer. So I love, for example, we don't have a lot of fancy shopping. So the amazing Brentwood is a great place to go and go for shopping, big brands, and it's just a very nice shopping center that I love and I would recommend. Just trying to go for a different category than nature for Burnaby. And for Coquitlam, I personally love Mundy Park. Like we enjoy it so much.
So beautiful.
The nature and the park itself and I mean the playgrounds with the kids, but even if you're not going with kids, you can take an amazing nature experience, nature walk. So that will be one of my favorite ones.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. And we'll have to find an excuse to do this again sometime. Wow, that was fascinating. And I think we're all going to have more fun on Canada Day knowing all those great things that we can do in Burnaby, New West, and the Tri-Cities. So I am now going to turn to our 911 stories for the week. So Janice, I think you have a story you kick off with.
I do on Tuesday night on the Oco Road in Port Moody. Port Moody police were very busy. The first collision happened around 7:30. This is close to the old Pleasant Side grocery store, as we used to know it, or just close to the old Orchard Park area. Somebody in a black van had a child in the rear seat and was allegedly had been intoxicated, swerved into the online lane, and hit a utility pole. Residences were out for about 90 minutes without power as a result of this collision. No one was seriously injured. This driver had been banned. He'd been previously banned province-wide, so he is facing criminal charges. And then just about an hour later, police were called right down the road at St. John's and Ioko. This is a very busy intersection, and it is alleged somebody in a white BMW struck a cyclist and then did not stay on the scene. Police are looking for any witnesses, any dash cam video to help them with their investigations. Please call 604 461 3456 if you saw anything.
And on which day did that happen?
It was June 23rd in the evening along Ioko Road.
Great. Thank you for that. Anybody else with a 911 story?
I've got one from New West, Jeff. It was on Wednesday morning. The first I saw of this was there was some parents who had taken to social media to ask why the school was on what they said was lockdown. And then the New West police did actually send out a news release later in the day, and they said that at about 8:15 in the morning on Wednesday, June 24th, they had received a 911 call from someone who thought that they had seen someone with a firearm. This person was driving in the area and they saw what they thought was a firearm. So the police apparently flooded the area and searched for a suspect. They brought out their drone and canvassed for CCTV footage. And then as precaution, the officers had notified a nearby school that there was a significant police presence in the area. And at the end of all of that, they did not find anyone who matched the suspect description. But they did say that the caller had done the right thing by calling 911 because you just never know.
Right. Thanks for that, Teresa. And Mario, I think you have something.
Yeah, it's not really a 911, but the police chief of Port Moody, David Flugel, has announced his intention to retire by the end of the year. He's been with the force since 2017. Port Moody, like New West, has its own small municipal police force. There's about 60 officers and 20 civilian staff there, a pretty tight-knit group. And of course, the press release was filled with accolades. But, Flugel's had some challenges through his tenure. It was on his watch that the Port Moody Police Department had a major breach of its IT system that shut it down for several days, and they've been scrambling since then to bolster their cybersecurity and bring in specialized IT help to help make that happen. And a couple of years ago, during budget deliberations or budget discussions in the city, he told Port Moody Council that the force has had a great deal of difficulty hanging on to its officers in the previous 5 years. They'd lost 39 officers. I mean, they'd since been mostly replaced, but there's lots of opportunities for police officers in the Lower Mainland with the advent of the new Surrey municipal force, and officers were fleeing or going to greener pastures or areas that were closer to where they could afford to live. So that's been an ongoing challenge for that department as well.
So, thinking with Mario, you have a sports story about an upcoming celebration of life for a local sports legend whom we've talked about before.
Yeah, readers of Freshet News and listeners to this podcast may remember the rather tragic turn the Punch McLean story took about a month and a half ago, just a couple of days after a press conference at Queen's Park Arena in which a group is trying to champion a statue being built for Punch McLean. He was a former coach of the New Westminster Bruins back in the rough and tumble days of the '80s when the arena was sort of the hotbed of sports in New Westminster, and the team was winning a couple of Memorial Cup championships and going to the tournament for 4 years in a row. And then 2 days later, he was in northern BC, probably heading to his mine or his gold panning area that he likes to go to, and he was tragically killed in a single car accident. And so now the same group has organized a celebration of life, which will be held on July 9th at 11 a.m. at Queen's Park Arena. It'll be interesting to see what kind of turnout that gets. Punch was still lived locally. He lived in Coquitlam, and he was a fixture at a lot of hockey events, whether it was kids tournaments, youth tournaments. Apparently, he went to a lot of Canucks games and would be welcomed with open arms there amongst the hockey hoi polloi. And he seemed to revel in his status as sort of a old school hockey statesman kind of guy. And so, yeah, I suspect we may see some hockey hoi polloi out at Queen's Park Arena on that day, and I'm sure there will be some great stories exchanged and told there. Of course, Punch was most renowned for his famous throwing of a garbage can onto the ice during a particularly heated dispute with a referee. So yeah, these things are always they're sad occasions, but I think it'll be a real opportunity for people to share some good memories and some crazy stories of a very different time in hockey.
Yeah, and it sounds like there's no shortage of those stories.
And Punch was often at the center of them.
So now I'm going to turn to Janice. What's on this week? Because it's Canada Day coming up. So I want to hear all about all the exciting things that are coming.
It is Canada Day and it is FIFA, and that's it. Is there anything else on? On Wednesday, July 1st, 159th birthday of Canada, there are celebrations in every community. I'll just keep this brief because let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. In Burnaby, the fireworks are at Central Park at 10:15. In Coquitlam at Town Centre Park, again, fireworks at 10 o'clock. In New Westminster, drone show, 10 o'clock, and that's at Queen's Park. In Park Coquitlam, we've got April Wine. They're performing before the fireworks finale, and that's at dusk. And in Port Moody, there are no fireworks, there are no drone shows. It's just a community celebration, and that's from noon to 5 at Rocky Point Park.
And no classic rock acts.
And no classic rock acts. Well, there is the Golden Spike Festival, and thanks for reminding me. And we do have Nick Gilder and Sweeney Todd performing at Rocky Point. That's on the 27th of June, Saturday night.
Wonderful. Well, those are all amazing events. And then if you happen to be listening to this on Friday, on Freshet Friday, there's also Youth Pride that's happening tonight.
And Jeff, if I could just jump in here, there's also an event happening in New Westminster on Saturday, the 27th. It's the Mechanics of Music Fest, and that's the Rock the Block Society and the Mechanics of Music, and they are inviting music lovers of all ages to join them down at Westminster Pier Park. There's going to be music and vendors, and apparently an instrument petting zoo where you can come and try different musical instruments. And so that's all happening at Westminster Pier Park from noon till 6:30 p.m. on Saturday.
Yeah, and they are good. I mean, they're 2 blocks away from me, and sometimes I can hear them rehearsing. And Caitlin and her team, they're fantastic musicians. So I feel lucky to be near there.
Oh, I
So-
saw Caitlin at the New West Experience that was hosted by Tourism New West, and she was just so engaging. So I can just imagine that this is going to be a wonderful event.
Oh, yeah. It should be fantastic. All right. Now we're going to turn to our favorite stories of the week. Who wants to start?
My favorite stories were contributions, really, from youth in our community. There was Janice did for folks that are picking up copies of the latest issue of Freshet News. There's a whole center spread, and it's got some snippets from some of the valedictorian speeches of the teens in our communities, and just really inspiring stuff. And just, it takes you back. And then Janice also coordinated something called My Favorite Teacher, or My Fave Teacher. And, it's I don't know, maybe it's the time of year, but it was just such a joy to read back on some of the young people's experience and how these teachers have really inspired them. So education stories as the school year comes to an end were my favorite two stories of the week.
Those are good choices. How about you, Mario?
I really enjoyed Cornelia's piece about the sleuthing that the Burnaby Archive did about a photo they managed to that they stumbled upon on Facebook and then acquired of some sawmill workers at a sawmill at Burnaby Lake. I love these kind of pieces because I think archivists are sort of the unsung heroes of our communities, and they're the keepers of memory and the keepers of records. And I think it kind of dovetails in sort of why Freshet News exists, in that with news deserts all over the place, newspapers are the community's record as it's happening. It may not be always perfect. It may not be, but it's not. It's also not the official record. Yeah, you can have city archives will have minutes of council meetings and that, but you don't get the kind of community-based stories that you do through those official channels as you do through a local news outlet. And when our communities were left bereft, as journalists telling stories in these communities for years, we couldn't abide by that because there's still so many stories to be told and deserve to be told, and will be looked back upon years from now when historians or researchers or people just interested in how things evolved can find those. And so I know when our previous publications were closed, everyone made it was mostly the journalists who made the effort to ensure that the stories we had told would be donated to the archives and the photos, and so that they have those records and they'll be available for years to come. And I know as Freshet News evolves, we'll be making those efforts too, because it's a very important resource. And seeing that, that old, when that photo was taken years and years ago, it was a group photo. It was nothing spectacular, but now, many years later, it has significance because there's as Cornelia's story says, there's very little record of that sawmill on Burnaby Lake, let alone the workers who worked there and who they were and what communities they represented. And they did a lot of work to find out about the photographer, and we got an interesting component of his life in that story, and the workers who were in that photo and where they came from and how they happened to be employed at the Burnaby Lake sawmills. And so, the work we do now as journalists, the value carries on for years into the future. And that's kind of, an important aspect of local news.
Yeah, first draft of history. How about you, Janice?
Well, as Teresa said, there's a feature in Friday's paper that Mario and I have spent a month and a half trying to coordinate, and we finally got it going. And it is a wonderful piece, and the photos are just fantastic. So I want to thank Mario for reaching out for these 5 kids. These are the students that were just starting middle school when COVID hit, and they are now graduating. We picked 5 valedictorians from our 5 communities. Just wanted to give a shout out to Linus Fong from Burnaby Mountain Secondary, Dean Petru from Dr. Charles Bass Secondary. If his last name sounds familiar, his aunt is on Port Coquitlam City Council, Paige Petru. From New Westminster, we had Kiara Malcolm. And from Port Moody, we had Addison Moncar Hardy from Heritage Woods. And from Port Coquitlam, we had Luca Alouette. He is from École de Pionnier. His commencement speech that we printed excerpts from these kids, from their commencement speeches. And his is in French. We decided to publish in French. And he thanked his mother for being the rock of his life. And we, here I go again, crying. This is such a wonderful time. It's a wonderful time of the year. And it's very gratifying to parents to see their kids go to the next level. So,
Yeah, that is
congratulations
it.
to the valedictorians.
Yeah, that is
I should
inspiring.
I should have said too, the Mario's photos and for that center spread were just beautiful, and when you talk about things going, into archives, I mean, that's the kind of thing that's, that's just, you can't get that on online. It just doesn't kind of hit you the same way. And so well done, you guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that story too, for the same reason that I went from the story about the my favorite teacher last week, because just came back from my high school reunion, and at the high school reunion, people had clippings from local papers from 50 years ago when we graduated, and so stories about what people had done and the ideas about what they would do in the future, and that's where you find them. They're not on Wikipedia, they're not on Facebook, they're not anywhere else, but they're in the archives. And in this particular case, they were clipped out and put on the wall. So that was inspiring.
Which makes you wonder what's going to happen 50 years from now at the 50-year reunion of this year's graduating class. Are they going to hold up their phones and hope their story is on Google? Will they be printing out from a website? I mean, come on. Again, we bring it around. This is one of the reasons why Freshet News also publishes a newspaper.
Yep. Yeah, because you can clip it out and you can keep it. You can put stuff on your fridge. It is something tangible you can hold in your hand. I do know that people tell us constantly, like when we were at Scottfest last week, and people would come up and they would say, this really means something to me, having something I can hold in my hand. So I think that's a good story too. So that wraps up another Freshet Friday podcast, but we'll be back soon. And keep an eye out for our latest print edition, which came out yesterday. So wherever you normally get your Freshet news, go and get it, because it'll be there. In the meantime, keep asking yourself the question, is it Freshet Friday yet? And come on back when the answer is yes. Thanks to our team for being here. Thanks for listening, and have a great Canada Day weekend.